So if you're watching this video, you're probably a Harry Potter fan. Which is great, because that means that I'm in good company. So therefore, chances are that you, like me, occasionally think back to moments in the story throughout your day and every so often randomly break down in tears because Dobby died. Yeah, sorry about that. And rest in peace, you glorious free elf. Okay, so recently I thought back to this moment right here. The final battle and Voldemort's death. The climax of the entire Harry Potter saga. And wondered how it actually worked out. And since, as you probably already know, there's a lot to it, we thought this might be a good opportunity to go back and dig right into it. So let's find out. Okay, so first off, why is this even complicated in the first place? Well, because there's a number of different parts that each play their own role in how the Dark Lord finally found his end. So in true canon cosmic fashion, let's break him down. The Horcruxes. Okay, so we know that Voldemort split his soul into 8 parts and stored 7 of them away into vessels known as Horcruxes. The 8th part is still within himself. When it comes to the vessels, we've got the diary, the ring, the locket, the cup, the diadem, Harry himself, and of course Nagini. Now, in the book, all Horcruxes are destroyed before the final showdown between Harry and Voldemort takes place. In the movie, the final battle starts with Nagini, the last Horcrux, still being alive. When Neville kills her, the battle is undercut for a moment before the two of them go at it again. So in both the book and movie, all Horcruxes are out of the way before Voldemort casts his final spell. The important part here is that the 8th part of Voldemort's soul is still alive. This is the one that's inside of him. Lily's sacrifice. One of the most important moments in the entire Harry Potter story takes place before the story itself starts. Harry's mother, Lily, sacrificing herself for baby Harry, dying in his place and leaving him alive with his signature mark. What's crucial to note here is that Lily's protection didn't die with her, but continued to live on within Harry. This is important because in Book 4, as Voldemort returns, he instructs Wormtail to use Harry's blood to create his new body. So as Dumbledore explains in his final conversation with Harry, he took your blood and rebuilt his living body with it. Your blood in his veins, Harry. Lily's protection inside both of you. He tethered you to life while he lives. And later, his body keeps her sacrifice alive. And while the enchantment survives, so do you. So that's how he survived their battle on the cemetery at the end of Book 4. Well, that and the twin cores. See, Harry and Voldemort are connected in a number of ways. 1. There's the part of Voldemort's soul inside Harry. And 2. A part of Harry's protection inside Voldemort. The third connection regards their wands, since Voldemort's wand contains a phoenix core which was made out of a phoenix feather. That feather was also used to create one other wand. And since a part of Voldemort is in Harry, that wand chose Harry in Book 1. So during their final battle at the end of Book 4, something very special happened once the two wands fired at each other, as Dumbledore explained. I believe that your wand embodied some of the power and qualities of Voldemort's wand that night, which is to say that it contained a little of Voldemort himself. But of course the Dark Lord didn't know that. He only ever found out about the twin cores from Ollivander, and thus decided to attack Harry with Lucius' wand next time, during the Battle of the Seven Potters. But then of course, because of Harry's wand's power upgrade, that also ended up failing, because your wand now contained the power of your enormous courage and of Voldemort's own deadly skill. What chance did that poor stick of Lucius Malfoy's stand? So now Voldemort figured that he needed an even bigger stick. He needed the Elder Wand. In the meantime though, during Harry's and Hermione's escape from Bathilda Bagshot's house, Harry's wand was destroyed. Or Hermione accidentally sat on it. We cannot be sure. Either way, this means that the twin core problem is now also out of the way for Harry's and Voldemort's final battle, since both of them fight with different wands. But then again, the Elder Wand isn't just any wand now, is it? Its allegiance has to be one. Okay, so we obviously know that the Elder Wand passes from wielder to wielder if it is won in battle. This way, its allegiance went from Gregorowitsch to Grindelwald to Dumbledore. Now Voldemort, of course, thinks that winning in this case means killing, which is why in the end he thinks that Snape is the true wielder of the wand and kills him. We, however, learn that winning does not mean killing. Disarming, for example, also works, which is how Draco won the Elder Wand's allegiance from Dumbledore, and finally, how Harry also won its allegiance from Draco. Okay, so the important thing here is that during the final battle, even though Voldemort used it, the Elder Wand's allegiance lied with Harry. But what does that mean? What would even happen if you tried to cast a spell with a wand that doesn't have its allegiance with you? Luckily for us, Ollivander has the answer. A person can still use a wand that hasn't chosen them, though. Oh yes, if you're any wizard at all, you will be able to channel your magic through almost any instrument. The best results, however, must always come where there is the strongest affinity between wizard and wand. So this neatly lines up with wands choosing their wizards, and leads me to conclude that they may behave unpredictably and or worse if you wield them, but they did not choose you. The Elder Wand, however, seems to be on a whole nother level though, as we'll find out. The spells they used. Okay, so this one's quite straightforward. During their final battle, Voldemort casts Avada Kedavra, the Killing Curse, while Harry casts Expelliarmus. Harry of course uses Expelliarmus because it's his signature spell. He's most comfortable with it. Okay, and what does it do? Expelliarmus makes you lose your wand, and as that scene demonstrates, can also throw you across the room if you cast it powerfully enough. The final battle. Okay, so with all the cards on the table, we can set the scene. We're focusing exclusively on the last spell that Voldemort casts here. This is our final battle. So in both the book and movie, all Horcruxes are gone, Lily's protection lives on in both Harry and Voldemort, the twin core problem is out of the picture since both parties use different wands, Voldemort uses the Elder Wand but its allegiance lies with Harry, and finally Voldemort casts Avada Kedavra while Harry casts Expelliarmus. Now what happens? In the book, both spells collide. Harry's comes through though, disarms Voldemort, and Voldemort drops dead. Wait, what? Okay, Harry's Expelliarmus wins over Voldemort's Avada Kedavra. Fine, that makes sense. Harry is still protected via his mother's sacrifice within him and Voldemort. And the Elder Wand wants Harry to win, so it sort of weakens Voldy's attack. This is how Harry's Expelliarmus won and why the Elder Wand flies out of Voldemort's hand, since he is disarmed. But then that's also the end of it. Why did Voldemort drop dead? What killed him? In the book, we get our answer a couple of lines later. Voldemort was dead, killed by his own rebounding curse, and Harry stood with two wands in his hand, staring down at his enemy's shell. And here we have it. Rebounding. Voldemort was killed by his own curse, that was reflected by... what exactly? Okay, so by what we've established up till now, the rebounding either took place because of the Elder Wand, the Expelliarmus charm, or Lily's protection. I guess it would make sense for the Elder Wand to prevent Voldemort from killing his true owner, but I would also imagine that it would rather weaken Voldemort's spell than outright using it against him, because we just never got to see that that's how that wand would behave. And I guess the same goes for the Expelliarmus charm. We know what it's supposed to do, and reflecting curses is not on that list. I don't like the idea that Lily's protection would be responsible for the rebound, because if Harry cannot die as long as Voldemort lives, that kind of undermines everything that Harry accomplished. Okay, so I guess my main quarrel with this scene is that it's so ambiguous. This is the climax of the story, and I want it to make sense. Here's the thing. I do actually think that JK meant for Voldemort to die because his spell rebound because of the Elder Wand. And if that works for you, that's great, awesome, more power to you, I do not want to take that away from you. But again, it does kinda grind my gears a little because it's not just any moment, it's the finale, it's arguably the most critical moment. Everything has to come together here. It has to serve some sort of poetic sense in order to be satisfying, but it also has to just make sense, because as readers we need to understand what's happening as we read it. Otherwise we're thrown off and left wondering how or if that even made sense, rather than appreciating the ending. Now to her credit, I also think that the ending delivers on the poetic part. With Voldemort, the self-proclaimed god, dying because of his own spell. A mere mortal the same way his victims did. But from a making sense perspective, it doesn't nearly fit as neatly together as I want it to. So why do I keep riding this dead horse? Let me explain. In Harry Potter, we have what's known as a hard magic system. This means that spells have rules and are well defined, as opposed to soft systems where magic is less specified and more open to interpretation. Think Lord of the Rings, for example. Both can be awesome, but Harry Potter's magic is cool because we are able to understand what spells actually do. As Brandon Sanderson writes in his first law of magic, an author's ability to solve conflict with magic is directly proportional to how well the reader understands said magic. And we, or at least I, understand Expelliarmus to disarm, not reflect. And mind you, it's also not just me trying to make every detail work here. JK does the same thing. I mean, throughout the story there are so many mysteries where the clues are properly set up before, so that we as readers are able to figure out what's going on as we read it. But not here. Honestly, I'd be happy if we could just get one moment where Expelliarmus is shown to have this rebounding property, or if you want it to be the Elder Wand that does the trick, give me a scene where a spell backfires because the wielder fired at the owner. I just want this stuff to be mentioned before it gets important. So how do we fix it? The Elder Wand takes a more passive role, because we want Harry to not just win because of a wand technicality. I'm also fine with Expelliarmus having reflective properties. I just want them to be known to us readers before we get to the story's climax. So here's the scene. We're in Book 5, specifically the fight between Harry and Bellatrix in the Ministry of Magic. Harry wants to attack Bellatrix with the Cruciatus Curse, but fails because, as Bellatrix mockingly explains to him, he doesn't really mean it. So let's add a line here. Something like, "You need to really mean it. Spells are capable of so much more once you mean it." So Harry builds up all his anger and puts it into this curse. He fires his Cruciatus with all his remaining power, but then Bellatrix just counters him with an Expelliarmus, reflecting his curse right back at him. And as he lies there on the floor screaming, he realizes that she used his signature spell against him. This way Harry learns about the reflective powers that the Expelliarmus can have, once you truly mean it. And then in the final battle, he sees Bellatrix, which reminds him of this very lesson, and so he uses one of his most painful defeats to win once and for all over his greatest adversary. This way we as readers and viewers would have known about the reflective properties of the spell before the battle takes place. The logical aspect of the finale wouldn't be ambiguous anymore, and we could still have our poetic ending, with Harry besting Voldemort, not by technicality, but by finally and truly mastering his signature spell. But what do you guys think? Would this ending have been more satisfying to you? Has this ever even bothered you before? And if so, how would your favorite version have worked? Leave us your thoughts in the comments down below. Oh, and while we're in this universe, what house are you guys in? Alex and I are both proud Ravenclaws. That's all we get for now. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time when we cosmic the canon of your favorite... No, wait, that's not how I went. What? How'd it go? Damn it. Goodbye!